They're going to have a big time matchup, their first road game in the SEC as they travel to Auburn, Alabama to face the Tigers in Jordan-Hare Stadium. We'll discuss what to expect out of that one coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The Oklahoma Sooners will take on the Auburn Tigers in their first SEC road trip. It's going to be a big-time matchup for an improving Tigers program in the second year of the Hugh Freeze era down there at Auburn. So, Jay, as you look at this Tigers team, as they're trying to kind of rebuild that program, what are you expecting to see from Auburn? What are you expecting to see from Oklahoma as they make the trip?
If anything, we know that the Auburn run game is going to be their bread and butter, right? I mean, Peyton Thorne, who's the starting quarterback as of right now, has kind of regressed since his 3,000-yard passing season at Michigan State, back when they went like 10-3 or 11-2 or something like that, under Mel Tucker before he ended up being out. He was actually playing some good ball, so everybody expected him to do good, and then it just started to go backwards. Comes to Auburn, throws 1,700 yards, which is just over half what he did when he was at Michigan State. But Hugh Freeze is infamous for his offenses, right? His creativity, and he surrounds his quarterbacks with really good skills positions. And so, to me, I sense that the big thing for them is going to be running the ball down everybody's throat. They're going to definitely take advantage of the fact that they've got an actually good running back and then Jarquez Hunter. They're going to have him going up the middle as much as possible. He's really good. And so, I think what Oklahoma's going to have to do is, in preparation for them, they're going to have to be ready for the run game and really quick passes, because I think that Thorne's going to probably try to get rid of the ball as soon as possible and get it into those wide receivers, especially one like that freshman Cam Coleman, which I hope he doesn't play in that game. Hopefully they just tell him just to sit out, just to be nice to us, because the kid is really, really good. And outside of that, defensive-wise, they're still rebuilding in a lot of aspects of that. They went and got Phil Bleedy, the defensive lineman out of Indiana, to try to help bolster up a defensive line that's pretty thin. But I'm giving Hugh one more year before I really am sold on him leading this team to a nice bowl game or even potentially playoff berth. I think that he has to get himself the next quarterback that's going to really make it happen for him. So it's going to take him another year. So I think Oklahoma has a really good chance of going there and playing spoiler for everybody thinking that the SEC is just going to swallow them up.
Yeah, Auburn's been recruiting really, really well. They're building a really nice program. They're coming back 50th in returning production, according to ESPN. And, they're sitting at 31st in the SP Plus rankings. So it's not a bad team. It's not a Mississippi State or a Vanderbilt or anything like that. They're going to be a team that's contending for bowl eligibility throughout the season, could even threaten with 8 wins if things fall right for the Tigers. But it's going to be a huge game for the Oklahoma Sooners. If they can get out of Auburn with a win there, I think it really kind of sets the tone for the next month, as then they'll play Texas in a couple weeks after that. And then they have South Carolina and then Ole Miss. I mean, it's one of those, we talked about it with the Tennessee game. I mean, this Auburn game, they're all must win, but you really want to build some good traction as you go into the Red River Showdown. And if Oklahoma can stop the run and put the game in Peyton Thorne's hands, I really think it's going to bode well for them. And I think Oklahoma is going to be able to take the air out of the stadium early in that one if they can hit some big plays. That's going to be the bread and butter of the passing attack, is kind of attack them short, and then get over the top with Nick Anderson and Deion Burks, with Brennan Thompson at times as well. So I like the matchup for the Sooners. Again, it's, Oklahoma doesn't have the most returning production coming back, but defensively they've got good returning production. And what do they always say about defense? Well, defense travels. So your offense may not get off to a quick start in that one, but your defense should, because you've got a lot of experience there. You've got a lot of talent. And if Auburn's going to try and run the ball on Dejon Terry and Dominic Williams and Jaden Jackson and David Stone and Ethan Downs and Caden Woolard and R. Mason Thomas and PJ Adebaware, like, good luck. Like, that's going to not be a very good time for you, because Oklahoma's run game has improved.
Yeah, it's going to be a pain. And And another thing that's always mentioned, running games travel, right? And the fact that Javonte Barnes is healthy and so is Gavin Sawchuk, hopefully by then all of them are good and healthy and the entire running back room is ready to go. Caleb Hicks is going to be one to hit that field. Same thing with Emeka Megwa. The big thing for Oklahoma, as you mentioned, yeah, sure, we've got 40-something% offense returning, but 80-something% on the defensive side. For Auburn, they improved slightly from 55% to 57% once, from the portal, from the wintertime into the springtime. And so for them, the big thing is going to be, what is that defense going to look like? And I'm going to be honest. I mean, their 76% of offense production has returned, which that's where that run game is in that offensive line. But I don't know what that defense is going to be right now, right? They've still got a lot of young players that they're trying to work out and figure out who's going to be the ones to step up and take over. So, yeah, it's going to be tough in that stadium just because we know the fans are pretty rowdy. But I don't think it's going to be just that strenuous on Oklahoma traveling to Auburn to play in that game. I think that this is going to be the one, and as you mentioned, if any game, this is the one that's going to really set the tone for the season. I think Tennessee is going to, I mean, every game's a must win, but I think that Tennessee's not to say it's not as important, but I think that this game is the one that's going to get people to respect Oklahoma and the SEC. So they have to go out. And if they go out there with a bang and pull what New Mexico State did last year and win 34-10, woo, buddy, everybody's going to shut up about Oklahoma and be like, well, guess they may be SEC ready.
And if they can go in and make a statement like that, it'll go a long way. But just win, just go in and win. Win dirty if you have to. If you have to win ugly, win ugly. Because it is a tough place to play. It's at times. And it is an improving Auburn team. It's not where it needs to be a SEC title contender or a playoff contender. But it's going to be a team that gives you fits. And it's going to be a team that's going to want to make a statement against an Oklahoma team that, again, is one of the proudest programs in college football history. That fan base is going to be geeked up for it, just like Oklahoma's will be when Tennessee comes to town. But I just think it seems like a mismatch on paper that especially if it turns into Oklahoma is able to score some points, I just don't think Peyton Thorne and the Auburn offense have what it takes to keep up with them. If Oklahoma gets off to the races and starts, developing a 21-point lead, Auburn's not going to be able to go score for score with them, especially through the passing game.
I totally agree with that. I don't think that offensively Auburn's at the point to be able to keep up with Oklahoma. That's spot on. Right now, they're still trying to figure that out. Next year, I think maybe a different story. They may have their quarterback in Hank Brown that potentially could do that. But this season, I definitely don't see it. I wasn't sold on Robbie Ashford or Peyton Thorne last season, and it kind of made me look right. So I guess the question is going to be in this game is, does Auburn see us as New Mexico State, or do they see us as Georgia? And I think that's going to determine just how hard they play in this game.
Yeah, they'll definitely get up for Oklahoma. I just don't think their talent level is going to be at the same spot that Oklahoma's is. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports, myself at John 9 Williams. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all the social media platforms. We'll be back next week where we'll continue to discuss the defensive line. We'll discuss where Oklahoma lands in different rankings. I'm sure the AP poll will be coming out soon as well, getting you ready for the 2024 college football season. And we'll discuss our first look at the Texas Longhorns in the Red River Showdown. And that's going to do it. Until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. Boomer.
Sooner.